name's Mark Wells, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some FES Flower Essences again with you. Today we're going to look at a particular flourish formula called Sacred Heart, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes in itself, but I'll talk about 3 flower essences that are in that formula. The first one I'm going to talk about is pink monkey flower. And pink monkey flower I'm talking about today mainly because it's been so prevalent in my practice of recent times. When it wasn't of years gone by, I would use it infrequently, but it seems to be such a relevant remedy in recent times for some reason. But pink monkey flower I've always liked prescribing because to me I always said, oh, this is getting in. Pink monkey flower is to help any fear you have around expressing who you are, any shame you have about expressing those emotions and articulating them to the world. A lot of the time I find with pink monkey flower, and this may be in an adult, that as young kids or teenagers, they're in a fairly repressive type upbringing, an upbringing that virtually humiliated them if they did really express who they were and what they felt that went against the normal status quo or grain. So, and they've lived with that, and it's almost like they're ashamed of it. They've taken on someone else's judgment, and when we're in those vulnerable years, and they've carried that through. And I've always thought when pink monkey flower came up for the person, oh, this is significant, this is good. Because with being able to express that, obviously that's expressing who you are at a deep level and to the world. It also means you're getting in touch with what your heart wants and what you desire. And you're allowed to go with that, get a sense of that, be with that, and then start to run your life according to that. What you really feel in your heart. So pink monkey flower is a great one to help you, first of all, get in touch with that. It almost looks like an open heart when I look at it, but it's opening you up to what does your heart desire at this point in time in your life. And do you feel okay about expressing that, or do you feel a bit ashamed about you coming out? Saying a word like that has a whole lot of other connotations, but this is very much about a coming out of you to the world. This is me, this is the real me, this is how I feel, and I'm not ashamed to be the person I am. So it's a fantastic remedy, and I almost feel, oh, well, it's good that it's happening, and it's good that people are tending to need that at this time, because it might be a tough one and working very deeply. It's certainly a remedy that is quite profound and will have profound positive effects for that person. The next one I want to talk about, and I have spoken about before, is pink yarrow, going on with this theme of the heart, but also pink. Pink yarrow, more about not taking on other people's feelings, being aware, having the ability to show empathy, but not being swayed away from how do I feel and what's going on for me. Not taking on, being able to say that's your stuff, I get you and I can hear you, this is what I'm dealing with, and having those nice little buffer boundaries. Great one when people are having counselling, couples counselling, for example. To differentiate there. This is what you're going through. This is what the partner's going through, and to state that and have that there, and then that person to understand that and that person to understand the other, rather than taking on the other person's issues and having these blurred boundaries between what you're feeling and the other person's feeling. It's a great one for practitioners to make sure that they don't take on the other person. You want to show empathy, and you don't want to lose that ability to empathise. You don't want to become desensitized. If you're a practitioner, you're hearing about problems all the time, and sometimes it can be get to a point where you become desensitized, or that's the way you cope. You get a bit burnt out. Pink yarrow allows you to stay there, to be there, to maintain your empathy without taking on that negativity, without taking it on and taking it home, if you like, from your practice. But in any relationships and anything like that, just defining this is me, this is how I feel, and I understand how you feel, which is different or unique to that other person. The third one is quince. And quince, another one mainly pink. Quince is an interesting one. I always think of it as the classical single parent remedy when someone has to, as a parent, be the nurturer. Come here, come and have a cry on my shoulder, but also the other, hey, no, you can't do that. It's getting that balance right. And I think with quince, it sometimes, goes towards the other side, getting a bit too hard, more about trying to keep things in line. And I also find it usually means that's what they are with themselves. The quince allows the person to tolerate themselves better. It's a remedy that if you can tolerate those aspects of yourself, you will tolerate in other people better. And you'll get that balance right. There will be times when you need to be stern, you need to be cruel to be kind, if I could use that expression. But when you're swaying too far that way, it just helps you to tolerate and say, okay, yes, you need a bit of nurturing and a bit of TLC at the moment, and then we can get on with the job. So quince, a great one to get that balance right. And as I said before, all of these three are in the Sacred Heart formula. And the Sacred Heart formula is about, as I said, keeping compassionate, but at the same time having your own strength and being certain of who you are and having your needs met, as well as trying to meet the needs of the person that you're in a relationship with, whether that's as a partner, in a family, or even at work, the workplace. Getting that balance right. You need to show the strength. The pink yarrow we spoke about, there's one side of the quince, but you also need to have your own needs met. Pink monkey flower, these other ones that are also in the remedy, cosmos is in there too. They're all about speaking up and articulating how you feel, particularly when you're, closed, sometimes feeling closed in a relationship. So it's the Sacred Heart formula, Flourish formula, is a brilliant, broad one to help people, well, you could say survive relationships, survive families, to maintain the integrity of how you feel and your own strength, but don't lose your compassion, don't lose, your thoughts for the other person and your feelings for the other person. It's getting that balance right, which is always an ongoing thing in relationships. That you want, both of you want to have your needs met, or if there's a few people, everyone needs their needs met. And this can help you, enable you to get that, but also remain concerned and compassionate and empathetic to what other people's needs are. So, great remedies and a great formula. Good luck with them. Thank you.